Hey, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we'll talk about a DC to DC charger, 12 volt. We'll talk about the XIMAKA DC charger. They call it DC 40 amp battery charger. And this charger, as you can see already, it does charge up to 40 amp and it's adjustable to 20 amp if needed, or if you want to just charge with less power. The DC to DC charger does come with a manual like this one, which is quite important. So very important as well. This is a 12 volt to 12 volt. So it means you can charge your 12 volt battery, lithium iron phosphate, HEM, lithium battery. What else does it have? Liquid. So different type of battery basically. You can charge with this device. And all you have to do, connecting it to your car battery. And how this usually works, it is very simple. This device will be in between your car battery and your battery you want to charge, which is a leisure battery, people call it, or house battery. Basically a battery which powers up your other supplies in the car, in the camper van, or that's basically it, or bus, who knows. But this device helps you to charge your battery up to the maximum you set it up. So what I've done, and I will go through the installation itself in a bit. And what I've done, for example, I'm using this device in my car, in my Jeep, pretty easy. And I'm just charging my battery in there. And in this case, I'm charging my LiCity battery. In this case, I'm using my LiCity battery box and charging the battery which is in there. By the way, up there, the LiCity battery box. So, and this charger does push up to 40 amps, as I mentioned. You can adjust it that it's only pushing 20 amps. That's up to you. But you have the capability to push 40 amps. So depending on your alternator in your car, very important. If your alternator is not capable of pushing enough power besides it needs for its own powering up and for the AC, for lights, for everything in the car which is electric basically, yes, it runs through the battery, but the battery will be recharged immediately from the alternator. So when the alternator is not strong enough, you will not be able to charge, or you shouldn't charge another battery, because otherwise you're not having enough power and your battery is in the car is running empty, and then you will just have issues starting your car maybe one day. So keep that in mind. So this device, pretty simple. Everything you see here already attached. Those wires here on this side, those wires on the other side. I did already put them on, but I also did cut them to length, crimp them, and I did connect them with an Anderson connector here, because the Anderson connector is, for me, just so simple to plug into the LiCity battery box, for example, or the New Gen battery box, or even my own clamps I put together, which I have. My alligator clamps have an Anderson connector on the other side. So yeah, let's get into that. So here on this side, you can see we do have output, black for negative, red for positive. We do have some little connectors here. We do have a sensor here. And we do have some settings which we can adjust, a little knob as well here. And this side is purely for the output, which means you connect your leisure battery, your, in my case, lithium iron phosphate battery. And that's why I have connected those 6 gauge wires, which will handle the 40 amps perfectly fine and push the 40 amps into the LiCity battery box. I will show you shortly as well how that works. I did adjust it here, and you can see there's an LFP setting, there's an HEM, gel, STD, and power, which is just always on when it has power, or a red light when there's something wrong and then you need to troubleshoot it. So I did adjust it to gel, and the reason why is because the setting this device comes with, but here we can see I do have the middle one, but it doesn't matter. So it does come with charging voltages. And those charging voltages, as you can see, LFP battery says it goes up to 13.8 as a charging voltage, and floating is not present, not available, which I felt like, okay, 13.8 is okay, but it could be higher. So gel on the other side here, second row, goes up to 14.6, and the floating is on to 13.5, which is perfectly fine, to be honest, for lithium iron phosphate. So the reason why I am setting it to gel, that's the reason why. Talking about it, there are different models, obviously, after 40 amp, but there are also 20 amps and 60 amps. So that's pretty nice. Talking about continue talking about this one. So now you know those settings. The sensor is a temperature sensor, which it doesn't come with, but you can plug it in if you want to. Those standard RJ something temperature sensors. Then we have this module, and you will need the D+. D+ is responsible to turning it on, which means you just need 5 volts to turn it on. But when you don't have this one plugged in, it will not turn on at all, even though you have a battery connected on the other side. Then we have the LC. The LC here will reduce it to 20 amps, so a 50% if you want to have just less power in it. I didn't connect it because I like the 40 amps. So, and then we have the output here, and it says clearly output minus output positive. So what I've done, I do have this Anderson connector on this side, 50 amp Anderson connector. One thing you have to make sure, the wires, the proper wire size for sure. As I mentioned, I have 6 gauge wire. Just the reason that I can push more, and I always like it a little more safe. This one is not the best solution, I feel like, but you have to make sure that you have proper wiring and that they definitely do not touch and that they're far away from each other. That's very important. So those are just hand tightening knobs. Show you. So that's what it looks like underneath. Just a stud up there. So I'm using 6 5/16 locks here, just if you're wondering what size you need. Here you can see we have those plastic protectors. Obviously, they just come with a bolt and a bolt washer and a split washer, as well as a nut underneath. And that's all here, positive here, negative here. And then you have those plastic covers, you can put them on. So the side which goes to the battery input, so that's the car battery which goes in here. Yes, you saw it right. I do also have this switch fuse up to 70 amps. What happens usually is the car battery, or the alternator basically, is pushing a lot of power into the battery, and maybe there's more capacity which can push over here on this end. So when I run just a 50 amp fuse, it might trip, because 50 amp is what the device as well needs to just power and convert the DC to the other battery and charge the battery. So 50 is not enough. 60 could work sometimes. There are peaks maybe when it just trips, which I want to avoid. So I'll go higher, 70 amps. The 6 gauge wire is it's good protected. You want a fuse which is appropriate for the wire you have. What I didn't talk about is here, this D+. So this is where Victron makes a big difference. So not sure if you remember, there's a video of Victron DC to DC charger which I installed, and this DC to DC charger from Victron is smart. So it means it does understand, hey, how much voltage do I have on the starter on the car battery, and when it's high enough it starts to charge the leisure battery. So I only need the wires from the battery, 2 of them, negative and positive, go into the Victron smart charger. And it does encounter itself and understand, okay, I can use the power because I have a higher voltage, so I can charge the other battery, so I can kick it on and charge it. With this device, this is a dumb device basically. We have to tell the device, okay, now you're able to charge, now you're not able to charge. So when the car is off, I don't want to charge it because otherwise I will just suck the battery empty. That doesn't make sense, right? So that means whenever the car is off, I want also that this unit turns off, because as soon as there's power, it starts charging. So that means this little D+ is going into the fuse box in a car. So I'll show you now what I've done, because I didn't change anything from last time. So that means in a Jeep Wrangler 2020 JL, we do have the battery over here. That's the battery. Don't mind this one. This is the battery. Fuse box back there. So it means back there you can also see I have the wires going in here into the firewall. I'm not showing how you did that because that was really tough, but the firewall is down there. There's a little outlet you can twist, pull it out, drill some holes in it, and then you go into the passenger or into the driver's side. And that means going in here, the wires come in, here's the paddle, right underneath there, or here in this corner, basically up there. And I don't think you can see, oh, maybe you can back there, the right wire. So it's coming in here, and then I lead it, or route it all the way under this trim panel into the rear seat. That means, and you can see it, all the mess. That's where it's coming out. And I purposely left it longer, as you can see. And I do have also connected this Anderson connector, so I can always disconnect it, store the wires, take everything out, which I don't want to have in there. For example, I do not want to have this in there, so I'll take it out. Or I have passengers, I don't want to have it in there. That's the purpose, and that's the routing. So I had to route positive, negative, and this 5 volt. Speaking about the 5 volt, the unit does not come with one of those tap-intos. Link in the description below for Jeep Wrangler 2020, so you can see I have those red wires. I'm using fuse 57, which is driver heated seat. And because my car doesn't have a heating seat element at all, it only gets power when the engine is running. Otherwise it's not heating. So that's good. And it felt like that's the best. But I'm working on maybe making this device smart, like the Victron device, missing some parts. So maybe it works, then I'll make a follow-up video on this as well. Otherwise, this one is a pretty dumb unit. So, but I want to show you, when I start the engine and everything, how this works. And therefore, I will connect my battery. So, let me change the setup here a little bit. I only had a fuse wire here, which is funny enough. But we're tapping into the fuse, which only needs 5 volts. But this wire is also with a quick connect in this case. With an XT60, but XT30 would be way better. I didn't have that one, but I can quick connect this one as well, which makes it everything quick connect and easy. I want to see the voltage of the battery, and therefore I have to turn on the switch and connect it basically. So right now the engine is not running, but I can measure the battery voltage here, which I should be able to see when I tap in here. We see 12.6 volts. Perfect. All right, I got another battery connected. Let's see the voltage of this battery. 13.24. So it means also when we measure here, 13.24. Perfect. So it means currently on the output side, with a leisure battery is connected, 13.24, which is lithium iron phosphate, with the right setting. At least for me, gel, it's the right setting. And I think we just start the car, and then we'll see what happens. And it will be a little louder, so I hope that I can lead you through. So you can see the amperage the battery is being charged with, 40 amps. Let's see how much comes in. And here you can see we charge the charge itself needs 55 amps, and that's what you're pulling out of the alternator. So after turning off the engine, you can see that it's slowly going away and turning off this light. And there, it's getting darker and darker. It just reduces all the 13 or 14 volts up to 0, and then at one point it just hasn't enough power anymore to light up this little LED. So that's it. Let me show you where I install it. So here you can see the rear seat, the rear row. What you can see down here on the entrance area, that's where the wire goes, or comes from, the battery actually. And everything else is right underneath there. So there's a little switch here on the side, and then let me try. Whoop, there we go. Yeah, there's a little switch. Then the unit is underneath, which you can barely see. It fits right underneath the Jeep sits, which is amazing. I'm all the way back, by the way. I would recommend putting something like aluminum or something, some construction where you tighten it down. It gets a little warmer, not too crazy hot, which is really good, I feel like. And then to the leisure battery, which is this wire over there, I just connect my LCD battery box. Let me show you how that looks like. And that's the one with the LCD battery box. Fits right behind me, so I can still drive. I'm all the way back, pushed back with the seat. But yeah, that's my use case. That's how I use it for camping or anything else. But this is amazing, and it charges the battery with 40 amps, which is, in 2.5 hours from 0 to 100%. Amazing. That's all I wanted to talk about. XIMAKA DC to DC charger for 12 volt batteries, 40 amps. Works great. It does put out 40 amps, which is amazing. It doesn't get too hot. I tested it. I have it under the seat. I can feel the outlet that is warm air sometimes coming up. In the wintertime, it might be nice, like a heated seat when you don't have heated seats, like I do. Anyways, but I feel like this product for around $100, which is pretty good. It doesn't have any smart function or anything, no Bluetooth, nothing fancy. It does just the job which it should do, and I have a battery which has Bluetooth, so I know what's going on. And I feel like the LCD battery box just fits right in there, which is amazing. So I hope you enjoyed that video as well. If you need to have more details on how to install those wires, let me know, and I will see if I can dig that out. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers!